Hi, altruistic well-wishers and constructive critics. Are you, your dear and near in fine fettle? It's Professor Suresh, delighted to be back for my 34th video in process of publication on YouTube today, 26th of June 2020. Topic for discussion today is immense benefits of herbs and spices. A spice is a seed, fruit, root, bark or other plant substance primarily used for flavoring, coloring or preserving food. Spices are distinguished from herbs, which are the leaves, flowers or stems of plants used for flavoring or as a garnish. Many spices have antimicrobial properties, which may explain why spices are more prominent in cuisines originating in warmer climates where food spoilage is more likely, and why the use of spices is more common with the meat, which is particularly susceptible to spoiling. Spices are sometimes used in medicine, religious rituals, cosmetics, or perfume production. The word spice comes from the old French word espice, which became epice, and which came from the Latin root spec, the noun referring to appearance, soft, and kind. The Egyptians used herbs for mummification, and the demand for exotic spices and herbs helped stimulate the world trade. By 1000 BCE, medical systems based upon herbs could be found in China, Korea, and India. Early uses were connected with the magic, medicine, religion, tradition, and preservation. Cloves were used in Mesopotamia by 1700 BCE. The ancient Indian epic Ramayana mentions cloves. The Romans had cloves in the 1st century CE, as Pliny the Elder wrote about them. The earliest written records of spices come from ancient Egyptian, Chinese, and Indian cultures. The Ebers papyrus from early Egyptians that dates from 1550 BCE describes some 800 different medicinal remedies and numerous medicinal procedures. Historians believe that nutmeg, which originates from the Banda Islands in Southeast Asia, was introduced to Europe in the 6th century BCE. Egyptian port city of Alexandria was a main trading center for spices. In the story of Genesis, Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers to spice merchants. In the biblical poem Song of Solomon, the male speaker compares his beloved to many forms of spices. Spices were among the most demanded and expensive products available in Europe in the Middle Ages, the most common being black pepper, cinnamon, and the cheaper alternative cassia, cumin, nutmeg, ginger, and cloves. Given medieval medicine's main theory of humorism, spices and herbs were indispensable to balance humors in food, a daily basis for good health at a time of recurrent pandemics like corona. In addition to being desired by those using medieval medicine, the European elite also craved spices in the Middle Ages. Spices were all imported from plantations in Asia and Africa, which made them expensive, tropical countries. It has been estimated that around 1,000 tons of pepper and 1,000 tons of the other common spices were imported into Western Europe each year during the late Middle Ages. The value of these goods was the equivalent of a yearly supply of grain for 1.5 million people. The most exclusive was saffron, used as much for its vivid yellow-red color as for its flavor. Very expensive. Culinary herbs and spices were classified on botanical basis as seeds, such as fennel, mustard, nutmeg, and black pepper. Fruits, such as cayenne pepper. Arils, such as maize, part of nutmeg plant fruit. Barks, such as cinnamon and cassia. Flower buds, such as cloves and stigmas, such as saffron. Roots and rhizomes, such as turmeric, ginger, and galangal. Resins, such as asafoetida. A spice may be available in several forms: fresh, whole-dried, or pre-ground dried. Generally, spices are dried. Spices may be ground into powder for convenience. A whole dried spice has the longest shelf life, so it can be purchased and stored in larger amounts, making it cheaper on a per-serving basis. A fresh spice, such as ginger, is usually more flavorful than its dried form, but fresh spices are more expensive and have a much shorter shelf life. Some spices are not always available, either fresh or whole. For example, turmeric, and often must be purchased in ground form. Small seeds such as fennel and mustard seeds are often used both and in powder form, both whole and in powder form. The flavor of a spice is derived in part from compounds, volatile oils that oxidize or evaporate when exposed to air. Grinding a spice greatly increases its surface area and so increases the rates of oxidation and evaporation. Thus, flavor is maximized by storing a spice whole and grinding when needed. The shelf life of a whole dry spice is roughly 2 years, of a ground spice roughly 6 months. The flavor life of a ground spice can be much shorter. Ground spices are better stored away from light. Some flavor elements in spices are soluble in water, many are soluble in oil or fat. As a general rule, the flavors from a spice take time to infuse into the food, so spices are added early in preparation. This contrasts to herbs, which are usually added late in the preparation because they tend to have strong flavors and are used in small quantities. Spices tend to add few calories to food, even though many spices, especially those made from seeds, contain high portions of fat, protein, and carbohydrate by weight. However, when used in larger quantities, spices can also contribute a substantial amount of minerals and other micronutrients, including iron, magnesium, calcium, and many others, to the diet. For example, a teaspoon of paprika contains about 1133 international units (IU) of vitamin A, which is over 20% of the recommended daily allowance specified by the US FDA, Food and Drugs Administration. Most herbs and spices have substantial antioxidant activity owing primarily to phenolic compounds, especially flavonoids, which influence nutrition through many pathways, including affecting the absorption of other nutrients. One study found cumin and fresh ginger to be highest in antioxidant activity. These antioxidants can also act as natural preservatives, preventing or slowing the spoilage of food, leading to a higher nutritional content in stored food. Herbs are leaves and spices are root, seed, bark. Herbs are angelica, basil, basil holy, basil thai, bay leaf, boldo, Bolivian coriander, borage, chervil, chives, sesame, coriander leaf, cilantro, cress, curry leaf, dill, elshosia, ciliate, epazote, eryngium foetidum, long coriander, hemp, hoja santa, Houtonia cordata, hyssop, lavender, lemon balm, lemongrass, lemon verbena, Limnophila aromatica, rice paddy herb, lovage, marjoram, mint, mitsuba, oregano, parsley, perilla, shisho, rosemary, rue, sage, savory, sorrel, tarragon, thyme, Vietnamese coriander, and woodruff. Spices are ajwan, bishop's weed, aleppo pepper, allspice, amchur, which is mango powder, anise, aromatic ginger, asafoetida, camphor, caraway, cardamom, black, cassia, cayenne pepper, celery seed, chenpi, chili, cinnamon, clove, coriander seed, cumin black, dill and dill seed, fennel, fenugreek, finger root, quachai, galangal, greater galangal, or lesser, garlic, ginger, golpa, grains of paradise, grains of selim, horse radish, juniper berry, licorice, mace, maglab, malabatram, which is tejpat, mastic, mustard, black mustard, brown mustard, white nigella, kalonji, nutmeg, paprika, peppercorn, black and green, white and black, green and white, pepper, long pepper, Brazilian pepper, Peruvian, pomegranate seed, anardana, poppy seed, saffron, sarsaparilla, sassafras, sesame, Sichuan pepper, star anise, sumac, Tasmanian pepper, tamarind, tonka bean, turmeric, vanilla, wasabi, zedori, and zest. Spices are used in different forms: whole, chopped, ground, roasted, sauteed, fried, and as topping. They blend food to extract the nutrients and bind them in a palatable form. Some spices are added at the end as flavoring and are typically heated in a pan with a ghee or cooking oil before being added to a dish. Lighter spices are added last, and spices with a strong flavor should be added first. Curry refers to any dish in Indian cuisine that contains several spices blended together, whether dry or with a gravy base. However, it also refers to curry leaves, also commonly used in South India. Karvepla. Nutraceuticals is a broad term that is used to describe any product derived from food sources with extra health benefits in addition to the basic nutritional value found in foods. They can be considered non-specific biological therapies used to promote general well-being, control symptoms, and prevent malignant processes. The term nutraceutical combines two words. One is nutrient, a nourishing food component, and pharmaceutical, a medical drug. The philosophy behind nutraceuticals is to focus on prevention. Prevention is better than cure, all of us know that. Spices, the predominant flavoring, coloring, and aromatic agents in foods and beverages, are now gaining importance for the diversified uses. The nutritional, antioxidant, antimicrobial, and medicinal properties of spices have far-reaching implications. In the present scenario, the anti-diabetic, anti-hyper, cholesterolemic, anti-carcinogenic, anti-inflammatory effects of spices have paramount importance as the key health issues of mankind nowadays are diabetics, cardiovascular diseases, arthritis, and cancer. Spices or their active principles could be used as possible ameliorative or preventive agents for those health disorders. Extensive studies on animal models carried out indicate that spices could be consumed at higher dietary levels without any adverse effects on growth, organ weights, and food efficiency ratio and blood constituents. Curcumine, the coloring pigment present in turmeric, capsaicin, the pungent principle in red pepper, allicin, the active principle in garlic, gingerol, the pungent principle in ginger, saponin, and fiber present in fenugreek are immensely valuable in healthcare with their multiple physiological effects. India is a land of spices and could exploit the fast growing nutraceutical sector with their high intrinsic quality spices. The scope of spices like turmeric, ginger, fenugreek, garlic, and red pepper in the nutraceutical society industry with their possible role in the control and prevention of important health disorders. Non-traditional use of spices, including nutraceuticals, now accounts for nearly 15% of spice production in the country. It's a whole figure. The new lines of applications are growing at a rate of 10 to 12% according to Spices Board officials in India. The nutraceutical sector is growing at 12 to 14% in the US, 8 to 10% in Europe, 14% in China, and almost 9% in Japan, while it is still at a nascent stage in India. We are always lagging behind on so many things. At the same time, the growth in the food industry globally, where spices are traditionally used, is 3 to 5%. All these are whole figures, of course. A spice is a dried seed, fruit, root, bark, or flower of a plant, or an herb used in small quantities of flavor, color, or as a preservative. Many of these substances are also used in traditional medicines. Black pepper Pippa nigrum lin is the world's most common spice and known as the king of spices. Those days they used to export from Kerala, I think Mangalore in particular. The word pepper is derived from the Sanskrit pipali, the word for long pepper, via the Latin pippa, which was used by the Romans to refer both to pepper and long pepper. The English word for pepper is derived from the Old English word pipper, P-A-P-O-R. The Latin word is also the source of German pfeffer, French poivre, Dutch pepper, P-E-P-E-R, and other similar forms. Pepper was used in a figurative sense to mean spirit or energy, at least so far as far back as the 1840s. In the early 20th century, this was shortened to PEP, P-E-P. Pepper is a perennial vine and a native of South India. In its dried form, the fruit is often referred to as peppercorns. The whole use of black pepper is in the seasoning of food, owing to its aroma and pungency. In traditional medicines, this spice is also reported to have digestive power, to improve appetite, and to cure cold, cough, dyspnea, diseases of the throat, intermittent fever, colic, dysentery, worms, and piles. So you can try, especially black pepper, even for infections that you might pick up during this coronavirus season. You can add turmeric also with milk. In folk medicine, black pepper is also used against epilepsy and snake bite. Spices and herbs for the culinary world are harvested from the entire spectrum of plant species. Most commonly, the seeds and leaves of these botanical treasures, salt treasures, are used to impart flavor, but barks, roots, nuts, flowers, and berries also have much to offer, depending on which plant you have before you. What just about all these species in their many forms have in common is a unique pungency compared with other crops. A spice or herb destined for kitchen is likely to have a strong signature, not duplicated elsewhere. Signature in the sense, what do you call it? Exotic. When cooking with a dried spice or herb, your task is to release its flavor into your dish. Sometimes a cooking process benefits from a helping hand by reconstituting or soaking the spice or herb in liquid before beginning. Actually, they say you will have to saute the spices, especially the strong spices, before you start adding the other ingredients, vegetables, meat, etc. And the cooking should be done low heat. Some seasonings, such as dried chills, are soaked in water first until the flesh is soft. Then they are blended into a sauce or paste. Other spices have oil-soluble components which can only be drawn out in oil. Sometimes the process is a short 10-minute affair, as with saffron. Other times the desired result is accomplished only with an overnight steeping, as with the hard fenugreek seeds, which is used quite extensively for the batter that we use for idli, dosa, and all that, especially in India. When using the technique, you will often want to reserve the liquid itself, as it will hold a significant amount of flavor. That water, fenugreek water, they say it is good for even diabetic patients and all that. And whenever practical, slightly warmed liquid can be used to accelerate the process. An interesting twist is to use fruit juice as a liquid, especially with hot spices like chives, mustards, and wasabi. A heat-sweet combo can add wonderful balance to sauces and condiments. Almost any part of a spice or herb that is considered waste in the kitchen can be saved and right for the fire. As with wood, you will want to soak your desired flavor in water to restrict its burning and to slowly infuse the taste via smoke. Spices are used for flavor, color, aroma, and preservation of food or beverages. I told you before. Spices may be derived from many parts of the plant, bark, all those things. The term herb is used as a subset of spice and refers to plants and aromatic leaves. Spices are often dried and used in a processed but complete state. Another option is to prepare extracts such as essential oils by distilling the raw spice material, wet or dry, or to use solvents to extract oleoresins and other standardized products. Essential oils are liquid products of steam or water distillation of plant parts, leaves, stems, bark, seeds, fruits, roots, and plant exudates. The expression is used exclusively for the extraction of citrus oil from the fruit peel because the chemical compounds of the oil are easily damaged by heat. Citrus oil production is now a major byproduct process in the juice industry. An essential oil may contain up to several hundred chemical compounds, and this complex mixture of compounds gives the oil its characteristic fragrance and flavor. An essential oil may also be fractioned and sold as individual natural components. Other processing options can also procure further products that can be sold alongside essential oils. The plant parts can be extracted with organic solvents to produce oleoresins. Concretes and absolutes are extracted with a near or supercritical solvent such as carbon dioxide to produce very high quality extracts. These oleoresins and extracts contain not only the volatile essential oil but also the concentrated non-volatile flavor components, and these have wide application in the food and pharmaceutical industries. The solvent extraction processes are more difficult and complex than steam distillation and will normally be beyond the financial resources of most small-scale processors, but supplying the raw materials to these extraction plants can be a market option. The most important spices traditionally traded throughout the world are products of typical environments. The major exceptions to the group are the capsicums, chili peppers, paprika, and coriander, which are grown over a much wider range of tropical and non-tropical environments. In terms of world trade value, the most important spice crops from the typical tropical regions are pepper, capsicums, nutmeg, mace, cardamom, allspice, pimento, vanilla, cloves, ginger, cinnamon and cassia, and turmeric. Coriander, cumin, mustard, and sesame seeds are the herbs. Sage, oregano, thyme, bay, and the mint are the most important spice crops from non-tropical environments. There are around 40 to 50 spices of global economic and culinary importance. There are also many other species that are used in traditional cooking in the region of their natural occurrence but have yet to reach any significant trade. The value of global spice imports is estimated at $2 to 2.4 billion, and in 2002 old figures, pepper topped the list with 20% of the total value, followed by capsicum 18%, vanilla 13%, nutmeg, mace, cardamom 9%, spice seeds 8%, and ginger 6%. The primary products harvested for spice or essential oil production can be broadly divided into 6 categories: seeds and fruits, leaves and stems, flowers and buds, roots and rhizomes, and bark, wood and resins. Spices, herbs, and vegetable seasonings can be heavily contaminated with microorganisms because of the environmental and processing conditions under which they are produced. The microbial load has to be reduced before they can be safely incorporated into food products. High temperature treatment can cause significant loss of flavor and aroma from a spice because the volatile oils are lost. That's why I said one has to saute it at low heat, at low temperature. They say generally slow cooking is better than fast cooking. Steam also results in a loss of volatile flavor and aroma components and color changes. Steam can also result in an increase in moisture levels. Until recently, most spices and herbs were fumigated with sterilizing gases such as ethylene oxide to destroy contaminating microorganisms. However, the use of ethylene oxide was prohibited by the European Union Directive in 1991 and has been banned in a number of other countries because it's a carcinogen, cancer causing. Irradiation has since emerged as a viable alternative, and its use results in cleaner, better quality herbs and spices compared to those fumigated with ethylene oxide. Irradiation, a cold dry process, is ideal to kill the microorganisms. Irradiation of herbs and spices is now widely practiced on a commercial scale. Most evidence concerning the cardiovascular effects of culinary herbs and spices relates to the possible impact of garlic and garlic oil. Consumption of garlic or garlic oil has been associated with a reduction in total cholesterol, low density lipoprotein, shortly LDL cholesterol, which is bad. HDL is good, high density. Low density lipoprotein is very bad, especially it has an adverse effect on the heart and triglyceride levels. Studies suggest that an intake of between half and 1 garlic clove per day can reduce cholesterol by 9%. Herbs may act through several mechanisms to provide protection against cancer. Certain phytochemicals from herbs or herb extracts have been shown to inhibit one or more of the stages of the cancer process, that is, initiation, promotion, growth, and metastasis. 62 to 65 inhibition of phase 1, pro-carcinogen activation and induction of phase 2, carcinogen deactivation. Metabolic enzymes by herbal products may account for some of the preventive effects against the induction of gene or chromosomal mutations that may initiate cancer. Total antioxidant intake, to which herbs and spices contribute, may influence cognitive decline with age through the neuroprotective action of antioxidants. The best evidence for effect of glycemia is for ginseng. Glycemia, blood sugar. 4 studies, can be hypo or hyper. 4 studies with one reasonable sized study showing a reduced HbA1c level, hydroxylated level of with 200 mg of ginseng. It is used widely in China, Korea and other ginseng. Various doses of ginger extract ranging from 10 mg to 1 gram per day reduce subjective arthritic knee pain measures compared with the placebo. Decreased use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and analgesics has been observed in study participants taking ginger extract. There is level 2 evidence for the use of ginger in ameliorating arthritic knee pain. The use of herbs and spices may help to lower salt, fat and sugar intake. The use of herbs and spices may encourage variety in food intake. Higher vegetable intakes are linked with improved health. Vegetarian options and vegetable dishes may be more appetizing when prepared with herbs and spices. Green tea without sugar and milk acts against cancer and it even reduces blood sugar. Our country is quite popular for natural medicines derived from herbs, spices and essential oils. It is called as Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, etc. These will not have adverse side effects like allopathy medicines and cost effective. Kottakkal in Kerala is internationally popular for Ayurveda treatment. Conventionally, elders use these herbs, spices and essential oils effectively for home remedies for most of the common ailments including indigestion. Western countries somehow managed to get patent for our herbs and spices like turmeric. In India we use a lot of herbs and spices like onion, garlic, ginger, nutmeg, turmeric, fenugreek, curry leaves, cilantro, cumin seeds, pepper, asafoetida. All these things are really good for the health. Let me wind up with a statement that use our herbs, spices and essential oils not only for the culinary aspects like enhancing the flavor, color, preservation in cooking, but also for the immense benefits it has on our health. It is wholesome. Curb intake of meats, especially red meat. Whatever I have stated are based on my personal experience so far in my life. Debates, discussions on topics like this can go on forever. Anyhow, let me call it a day. We'll meet again real soon. Rest in peace and harmony. Always watch these videos with closed captions, subtitles for absolute 100% comprehension as per my persistent recommendation. I know I rushed through to complete the presentation within 20 minutes max. There's a time limit. I have set myself to retain the viewer's attention as a norm, as a personal norm. I know nowadays I exceed this time limit since I make honest attempts to cover the selected topic more elaborately, including so many intricate details, referring a wide variety of sources, in particular Wikipedia extensively, besides articles and books published recently. Stay at home as much as possible to maintain social distancing, attributed to pandemic novel COVID-19 and prolong your lifespan. Lead a healthy life. Use a lot of spices and herbs, of course in limits. Saffron is good in so many ways. They say people that have saffron will become fat. God alone can put a stop to natural, unnatural, maybe bio war and cyber war, events like pandemics which lead to apocalypse and extinction of all sentient species on earth. All the best.